All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Some Random Guy Speaks. I am your host, Tony G, and we are about to get started today, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, we're going to have a guest on. Some of you guys that have been on my live know of this guy. I met him last year. He's a moderator of mine. He used to have his own channel back in the day. I think he actually started before I did. I'm sure of that. But other than that, though, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very interesting live stream and things. So let's go ahead and start with the pauses and things. And I need to send him a guest invite. Let me go ahead and do that. Go ahead and send this to him. One moment. Ladies and gentlemen, messenger, email. Okay, let's do this here. I'm going to copy that. Just give me one moment. Let's see here. TMI. Right. Just a moment. So this is what we're going to do here. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to send him the invite to the stream here. Let's go up here. There we go. Send him the stream invite. Copy link. Send this to Kirk. So much easier at home though, but it's all good. Yeah, so he got the invite now. I'm sending him the invite. Okay. All right, so Omega has the invite. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and welcome to the channel. You know, once again, we're about to get started. We're about to do something great here. And things. Okay, here. Can you send me a text? Yeah, I just sent it to you there, Omega. So you should have. I just sent it. That's the link. In fact, let me do this here. I'm gonna post up the link. I can share this link as well too. But check your message and stuff. Messenger. See if you got the link. We're gonna be talking about the snap, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, he got it. Yeah, we're gonna be. Omega is coming up here on the microphone. Welcome you all to the channel. I've been out and busy for the past few days, you know, but I'm back in true fashion. Welcome everyone to the chat and things. So whether if you are mad or not, troll are welcome too. We just asked, or I just asked, that we keep everything, you know, culture. We can have dialogue in case if we don't agree with everything. No system name calling. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and kill the background music here. Then we're gonna go ahead and get started. Give me one moment, Omega. I'm gonna put you up here, man. Right. Let's see here. Here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and kill the background music. There we go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, you are going to hear the voice of Omega, you know? So here we go.
All right, we're on, it seems.
Yes, we are. Good morning to you, Omega. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Good morning to you, Tony. I'm doing all right. Just having a somewhat unscheduled day off.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to post a link down in case if for those that want to come on later, not right now, but I'll put the link down later and things like that. We're talking about the SNAP benefits and things. I have some information. Omega has some information for sure in regards to it, and we're gonna get started with it because I think it's important. Though I know uh, what has been going on with it and things. So yeah, we're going to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope all of you today are having a great time today and so forth. But yeah. So Omega, I'm hold on. Give me one moment here. I just want to do something here. What happened to my notes? For a minute. See all. I just had it up here. Boy. Okay, let's see here. Okay. The history. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay. Okay, I think this is it right here. Okay, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. All right, so I think we have it here. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we know as of October the 29th, 2025, the U.S. government and so forth has a partial shutdown that began October 2025, right? The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is known as SNAP, is known as food stamps, right? Which is funded throughout the annual congressional report. Man, I should be a little bit more on this though. Omega, hold on for a minute. Due to the lack of new funding bill, SNAP federal funding is set up, right, and it's basically supposed to expire, right? So therefore, I'm gonna go ahead and let Omega talk on it as well. I was just gonna say that oh boy, I'm over here looking at some of the stuff here, the examples for the top states like California, 5.2 million, Texas, 3.4 million, New York, 2.9 million, Florida, 2.8 million, and Pennsylvania, 1.9 million in things that's going to be affected in things. So without further ado, I'm going to let Omega take over from here and go right ahead, Omega. You got the floor.
Well, right now, as far as I could tell you, there's a competing narrative going on. Okay, the competing narrative on both sides. On the Democrat side, the narrative is that, of course, that the Republicans are really just trying to keep this shutdown going, and that they are trying to continue a resolution that would cause the government to reopen. Okay, that's the narrative on the Democrat side. The narrative on the Republican side, however, is we unanimously, I'm not saying we as I'm part of them, I'm just saying this is what they're saying. They are saying that they are unanimously voting to reopen the government, and the dissenters are the Democrats. And there are a couple of Democrats that actually voted in favor of reopening the government. And the irony is, because this is a Senate level issue, it requires 60 either 60 or 66 senators to be in alignment with this. I can't remember the specific rules on this. It's not a simple majority. I do know for certain that it has to be a plurality, and that plurality has to be, I believe, a minimum of 2/3. So 2/3 mathematically would be 66 senators. However, I keep hearing reports about 60 senators, so I'm not 100% clear on that specific. However, the fact is, right now, as it stands, they only have like maybe 56 votes in favor of reopening. And without any exception, all of the dissenters for reopening are all Democrats, Democratic senators. Now, that being the case, with them being the primary dissent for reopening, the question becomes why? You know, a lot of people never really ask the why, they only follow the narrative without examining the why. Well, let's just get to brass tacks here. The why is simply because the continued resolution would send funding, American money, to illegal aliens, as well as continue to fund things such as giving what's that called again? Giving DEI to nations, funding DEI in nations that don't give a damn about DEI, and other hyperbolic nonsense that they want to fund. Okay, but the Republicans are not having it because of the simple fact is that, you know, at the end of the day, you have to consider that all of these expenditures is coming out of the pockets of the American public. Okay, the Republicans are not having that, but the Democrats, you know, they have this mentality, whereas it's not their money, so they're not concerned about how it's being spent. Okay, a lot of people don't realize that is the play of the Democrats. They love spending as long as it's not their money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, personally, I would love to see the day. There are three things I would love to see, but I know they would never happen. Number one, if you want to declare war, right? If you want to declare war, either you or your next of kin, if you're too old to do it yourself, must boot up, strap up, and deploy along with the people that you want to fight the war. Number two, you propose a a tax bill that will require extra spending. You have to openly contribute a certain percentage of your salary towards that as a symbolic gesture that you are willing to put your money where your mouth is. And then the last thing is absolute accountability from all politicians. I would love to see that happen, but none of that ever would ever happen.
Right. Exactly, man. You're right. Absolutely right about that, though, too, man. So with the SNAP benefit program, I know I'm in agreement with you how on the Republican side, they definitely they want to shut down to continue. I believe they have up until 61 days because on the Trump side of it, this is a benefit for him because he can fire. I know you already know it, what I'm about to say, but we're talking about firing of a lot of non-GO NGOs is what I'm trying to say. Jobs and
NGO,
stuff like that.
you're talking about you're basically specifically saying um non NGO
Right. Yep.
non NGO
Um,
government schedule
yes.
employees.
There we go. Thank you so much for that clarification. But that is absolutely correct. So what does it? I mean, how does it benefit the Americans? Well, he always said that he was gonna basically shrinking of the government. A lot of these programs, mean, it kind of sucks though at the same time because hey, nobody. I'm not wishing nobody to lose their job, but at the same time, what's the say favorite old word that Spock from Star Trek used to say? The few outweighs the for the many. Yeah, I mean,
Well, actually, I'm gonna disseminate that one. That the needs of the few, the needs of the many outweigh the of the
there
few.
we go.
But believe it or not, that is a philosophy that was born out of Marxism.
Okay, got you. Oh boy, I didn't felt the need of it fitting on this one, but you see how they got us all jacked up. But go ahead, Omega man. Oh man, this is terrible. I'm over here
Well, you know
quoting
what? I love it when you have some of our esteemed guests that come on to the chat and they basically try to goad you into defining fascism or other types of totalitarianism. And the funny thing is that they themselves cannot define it. In fact, the term fascism has been diminished to a nebulous term, mainly due to the fact that anything that opposes the left is deemed to be fascist. It's just like saying calling everyone who doesn't do what you want them to do, say as a black person, calling them a racist. Then therefore, eventually, you dilute the term racist to the point to where now you call somebody a racist, they'll look at you and say, and.
right, right,
So
exactly.
so the fact of the matter is that um, the overuse of terminology usually creates the situation to where the term itself lost all of its meaning. So, how does that relate with this whole snap thing? Well, it's simple. You got them getting all of these Negroes. I spell it as
Mhm,
KNEE
mhm.
dash GROWS Negroes. You got all of these Negroes going around here saying, "Well, if I'm not getting my money, I'm gonna just rob white people, or I'm just gonna rob Walmart." I said, okay, you know what? You might have a better chance of robbing Walmart because Walmart has a policy that dictates that they don't want to call the cops unless it gets a little too out of hand. So if you try to rob white people, you'll run into an interesting dilemma.
Yes,
If
sir.
that if that white person happens to be a liberal, now you just turned a liberal against you because the simple fact is that you believe the white liberal to be an ally. I take the Malcolm X approach, where the Malcolm X approach is basically this: the white liberal pretends to be the friend and benefactor of black people. Now, that being the case, uh, now you got two other types of people out there that you're going to probably try to rob, and it's not going to end well for you. Might be a conservative, it might be a libertarian, and generally speaking, they tend to carry guns, and they tend to be pretty good at using them.
Yes, yes, sir. You're
So
absolutely right. Yeah, go right ahead.
I would advise against that idea of trying to rob white people. Personally, I would prefer that you don't rob anyone. I would prefer that you know, stop abiding in this. Excuse me. Stop abiding in this learned helplessness, where in which you require handouts from the government, gain some skills, and find a better job. You know, I would advise that above and beyond that. But if you're just going to have to try and go against the corporations and stuff like that, A, go against take from the ones that have a stated goal of not arresting you, and B, make sure you don't crap where you eat, because if you do, you might not have that Walmart after a while, and then now you have to do an extra trip when you finally do have money across town to buy things. So I'm saying that facetiously to imply that it's probably not a good idea to do it at all.
Right, exactly. I would advise listening and taking Omega's, advice in regards to that. And then going back to what you were saying earlier, I know I do get people that come in this room and talking about trolls. And I said
Yeah.
this before. I actually did a short on it as well too. I don't get into the debate thing or play their games because I already know what they're doing, right? Because the tactics that the left does, and they learned this from the so-called elites, the Democratic elites on the left. Ask the question, and you keep asking the question. Play this answer question, or ask the question, and then try to answer it. If not, it's the "I got you" moment, and this is where it always been with them. I got you moment. I got you moment. I don't play. I don't like playing in a game, and then they try to go to you. What's your spirit? You don't know. You don't know what it means. See, and for a person like myself, and sometimes, after so long, you kind of get goaded in it a little bit, and I
I
gotta
mean,
be
I
mindful
get
of
where,
that. Cause,
yeah,
yes, yeah, go ahead.
no, yeah, I get where you're coming from. I take the opposite approach. It's because I can actually answer it in a way to which if they try to do the gotcha thing, I will shut them down, and it would end up appearing that I got them. But in reality, that's not my aim. My aim is to my aim is just to literally let them know, hey, I know what you're doing.
Right, which I have made mention on there, and I'm gonna see. I'm gonna have to keep mentioning it because it's coming. They come in here not just being disingenuous. They're just coming here just being an asshole. I mean, really. I mean, that's their intent to come into the room, ask the questions. Same thing with the Epstein stuff. Release the Epstein files. What they don't really realize is that it's the Democrats that refuse to release the Epstein files. It's not the
Right.
Republicans.
I always I like to give them what I like to call the devil's wager.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. It's a form of the devil's advocate. Okay. Devil's
Mhm.
advocate is like saying, okay, I'm going to ask you this one question to say, let's assume you're right. Okay. Or let's assume, that I'm completely wrong about this. However, the devil's wager is a more complex thing. Okay.
Okay.
It's more like I will have two questions with two possible answers. If one with three, then this is the answer. If one with four, then this is the answer. If two with one, with two with three is one thing, and then if it's two with four, then it's another. So you have four possible outcomes. I've developed this idea from Pascal's wager. I'm not sure if you've heard of that term, but Pascal's wager basically is okay, it was a wager by a philosopher that basically said, well, if God exists, if that God doesn't exist, that's one and two. If you believe in God, that's three. And if you're atheist, that's four. So if you believe in God, if if there is a God, if there's one, and then you are three, then you have eternal bliss. If it's if it's two and your answer is three, then nothing happens. If you ask one again and your answer is four, you'll burn in hell for eternity. But if your question is two and your answer is four, nothing happens. So in two cases, nothing will happen. In one case, it's the best outcome. In one case, it's the worst outcome.
Gotcha.
So that's Pascal's wager. Now, the devil's wager in this about the whole Epstein thing, I will sit there and say, okay, the files are not released. We know this. Okay. Let's assume number one, you are correct that there is that the Republicans refuse to release it. And then two, the Democrats refuse to release it because both are true. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that being the case, we have 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are your answers are if Trump is implicated, and then 4 is if a bunch of Democrats are implicated. Okay. If the Republicans, if one with 3, one being the Republicans are withholding it, and Trump is implicated, your answer in that case would be that the the uh the file should be released through a judicial review or an order through congressional means. Okay,
Right.
if it's 2 and 3, meaning that the Democrats are withholding it and Trump is implicated, then the answer for that one would be, well, there is a contradiction here, or you would say, uh, why? Okay. Now, if you go back to one, the Trump is withholding it, but there are a bunch of Democrats that are implicated. Your answer at that point that would be a big fat Y, just like the 2 with 3. It's a big fat Y. Okay. However, if the question is 2, that the Democrats withheld it, and a bunch of Democrats are implicated, in that case, then there should be a congressional hearing. So you have 2 answers crisscross, okay? 2 matching answers. If it's being withheld by Trump and and Trump is implicated, there should be a congressional hearing. If the Democrats are withholding it, but now here's the additional answer. Okay, here's the one that we didn't factor. If the Democrats withheld it and Trump is implicated, okay, wouldn't it stand to reason that the Democrats would have what's that called again? The Democrats would have used that information as a big fat October surprise for the election to pull voters away from Trump.
Right. Right.
You see, so if Trump is implicated and they had access to these files for
Mhm.
4 years,
Mhm.
during that entire 4 years, would you think that they would have uh, completely blown it out of water just to discredit him? The answer to that is yes. Now that goes back to the other big fat why, okay? And that is Trump is if Trump is withholding it, but it implicates a bunch of Democrats, the question now is, what does he stand to lose? Who benefits with him withholding it when he can just basically sink however many Democrats he ever wanted in his life?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So the question becomes a classical Latin question called cui bono. Cui bono means who benefits.
Right.
So
Yeah. Mhm.
who benefits here?
Right.
Well, I'm going to give you my hypothesis. Okay, my hypothesis on this is that it was mentioned that Bill Gates may possibly be on the list, Epstein list.
I have heard that. Yes.
In fact, Epstein, much like Diddy, through parties that involve elite socialites. So you have a bunch of rich people that's on there. Now here's the problem. Okay, why even though now I understand and I can respect the idea that you want to get rid of these quote unquote rich pedophiles, blah 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 blah. Actually, pedophiles, because legally speaking, a pedophile is somebody who goes after somebody who's younger than 12. A phibophile is anybody who goes for older than 12 but younger than 18. Okay. Now that being the case, um, that being the case, why would it not be released when there is a known quotient that you have a bunch of rich elites? Well, here's the thing. How about this? This is something that nobody really considers. What if the people who are implicated, if they are convicted, would sink the entire global economy?
Mm.
Now, if you sink the entire global economy, you know what might happen then.
Yeah. Yeah, we sink the global economy. We're talking about anarchy, let
Well,
alone.
I'm gonna say like this.
Mhm.
When the global economy sank the last time, and mind you, the 2008 recession is nothing but a rash compared to the Great Depression. Okay,
We're talking
the
worse than the Great Depression.
yeah, I'm talking about the Great Depression of the the late 20s, early 30s.
Stock market crash. Yeah,
Yeah, that was partially responsible for World War II.
correct.
So that being the case, you know, uh, if we were to, I'm not trying to justify not prosecuting these people. Okay, I'm not justifying that. What I'm saying is I'm looking at what is the pragmatic assumption here. The pragmatic assumption is if we go after Bill Gates and the top 1% of 1% of people who run multinational global companies, if we go after these people, all we're going to do is create a global recession that would make the Great Depression look like a head cold.
Yep, I agree. Yeah,
So, being on a pragmatic level, it's probably a bad idea to go after all of them at once. It is a very bad idea. And then here's the other problem that nobody considers, right? Another person that was possibly named in it or hinted at was the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Now, in Saudi Arabia, shoot, anything that bleeds is perfectly legal over there. Now, that being the case,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
so that being the case, now you're basically casting a crown prince in a negative light who actually supplies a considerable percentage of oil and help prop up our economy by forcing the world to buy oil in US dollars, making the US dollar the global reserve currency. Now, if you implicate him, well, you just killed your own economy because now we got to buy Chinese yuan to buy
Mhm.
oil.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that being the case, I'm not trying to justify obfuscating this. I'm just looking at what is the worst possible thing that can come of this. And
Mhm.
chances are it's the correct assumption.
Right. Yeah, and exactly in regards to that. Well, here's the thing about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, with the as far as with the Epstein thing, and then I know we'll move on the topic, but there's the children too. What people don't think about is that there's still children that are still out there that have not been rescued yet. And I kind of alluded to this before on the
Yeah.
last stream that I have, but since those children, and I think this could be another reason why they're on the Republican side that they're not releasing those files because those children are not safe yet. The ones that they have found, and they have, let's say, got them in a safer place, there's many of them that are still in captivity, and it's really a complicated situation because they will have to go to where they are, and before they release those children, you already know they will undelete them. So this is what it gets very, very complicated with the Epstein files like that. I'm talking about the children that are in captivity, right? That are
Yeah.
being
Well,
hidden.
yeah, because let me help you clarify that scenario
Right,
because I'm quite sure we only have about maybe 4 or 5 people in here, but
right.
I'm going to clarify this for the people who are listening. Okay,
Go ahead.
what you're saying is okay. Though it's called a cascading event. Okay, cascading event basically means that Epstein was probably not the only one doing this, engaging in pederasty and pedophilia, or however you want to call it, right? Well, what happens is that the cascading effect is yes, there are others in other parts of the world who are doing the exact same thing. And what happens is the compromise of which will cause a cascading effect, where in which those who are implicated may be able to be flipped to discuss other people doing the same thing. And then that puts the lives of those children in jeopardy. So, I mean, think about this. This is something nobody really talks about, right? The whole thing that's going on in Nigeria right about now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of the Muslims are killing Christian boys and kidnapping Christian girls. You know, and they this happened. A big event of this happened during the Obama administration when they had that hashtag campaign that was like, give us back our girls. I kind of was miffed about it because I'm looking at it like, okay, you guys seem to be um, only interested in bringing the girls back. I'm like, how about this? Stop kidnapping and killing all of the kids. You know, how about that for a change? It almost seems like that's the reason why the Democrats are starting to have a problem with men. Okay, it's because the Democrat Party is becoming inherently gynocentric. Okay, and
Yes.
the final problem with that is that, yeah, while you'll still get some of those men, and some of those men are like I like to call the cuttlefish men. You know what a cuttlefish is, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, the cuttlefish men. Basically, just like the cuttlefish, a weak, smaller cuttlefish would change his colors to pretend that he's a female to sneak by the dominant male in
Mm-hmm.
order to try to have some type of intercourse with the females in a clandestine manner. In fact, that there is a scientific term for this. Excuse my use of language, but this is a scientific term. You can look it up. You can Google it yourself. Just look it up. It's called the sneaky fucker. Okay, that is a scientific term. Okay, the sneaky fucker is basically what I said, the cuttlefish. You pretend to be it's you basically try to simp your way into having sex. That's literally what the sneaky fucker is. So that being the case, yeah, you're gonna get a bunch of simps with this leftist ideology, just like with Obama and his condemnation of black men for not voting for Kamala Harris. Talking about, and which is funny because now he's supporting a white liberal for governor of Virginia over a self-established black female Republican, when his whole message has always been you gotta vote for the black people. Now all of a sudden he flipped because it's a white liberal female versus
Yep.
a black conservative woman. I find that to be
Contradictory.
hilarious.
It is
Yeah,
hilarious. Yeah, it
I find
really
it
is.
hilarious. But
Mm-hmm.
get it how this all relates is simply this. Um, you know, you get this, the Democrats basically have this problem with men, and that is that they've been demonizing men for probably the better part of the last 15 years. Okay. I'd say about around 2011, 2012 is when they started demonizing men, saying men bad, and
Yeah.
then following the feminist lobby,
Toxic masculinity. Yeah. Toxic masculinity.
toxic masculinity, yeah, that nonsense, and then saying, well, we need to redefine masculinity. But the irony of irony is these kind of men, the women are not even interested in.
Yeah.
They're
It's
not even they're not interested in this, you know, um, they're not interested in these Delta Omega males. Okay, they're not interested in them. Okay. Oh
right.
yeah, I have to correct you on a little something too, because you made mention of this. You say alpha, beta, gamma. Um, if you go by the paradigm, there's 12 different types of men.
Okay.
You have alpha positive and
Mm-hmm.
alpha negative, right? Alpha
Okay.
positive would be like the alpha positive need, it would be like the what's that called again? The charismatic leader type. Okay. The alpha negative is the
Yeah.
basically the toxic version of the alpha positive. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Toxic version. Beta positive is the wingman, your ace, your guy who helps you out, helps the alpha out whenever he's wingman. Then you
Right.
have the beta negative, which is the lancer, the wannabe alpha, the guy who basically is the usurper. He'll basically clown you and make you look bad while pretending to be your wingman. Then
Gotcha.
you have the gamma positive, which is basically the loner, the guy who basically says screw society because society is all crap anyway. He wants to do his own thing. Gamma negative, well, the thing is, if he didn't go to that level, he would either be a low grade alpha positive or a high grade beta positive, right? Then you
Mm-hmm.
have the gamma negative. Gamma negative is the reject. He's basically a social isolate who has potential. You know what I mean? He has potential. He's that guy. You ever have that friend that nobody tends to kind of like, no, everybody thinks he's kind of weird and you deal with him sparingly, but you really only deal with him because he has some straight up slick connections. But other than that,
Mm-hmm.
you really don't want to be bothered with him. That's the
Mm-hmm.
gamma negative.
Okay.
That's the gamma
Interesting.
negative.
Man,
Delta,
I'm
that
learning something. That's interesting, though, man. Yeah.
yep. Delta positive. That's
Mm-hmm.
just your average run of the mill guy, just basically happy to do his 9 to 5, don't want to rock the boat. He's not necessarily going to do anything to provide any type of leadership. He's just there for the fun. He's not, he's just a normal every guy, right?
Right.
Then you have the delta negative. Delta negative is a person who is just an ordinary dude, but he thinks he's better than what he is, and he often finds himself in a situation where in which he basically thinks that he's hot stuff, but really he's just plain. But
Right.
the deltas are the plurality majority of men. Most men are deltas. Okay, you're just there because you're happy to be there. You know. Then you have the omegas, the true rejects, the weirdos. Okay, you have omega positives, which basically they know that they're very self-aware that they're weirdos, and they keep their weirdness to themselves. They're like, yeah, I know that this is not socially acceptable. I'm just going to hang out in my own circles where it is acceptable, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm some type of sophisticated, whatever
Interesting.
the case may be. I'm just going to, I'm for example, I'm a furry. I know nobody except furries, so I'm just going to hang out with a furry community and leave everybody alone. That's your omega positive.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your omega negative. They believe that their weird habits and weird tastes and things is superior to quote unquote normie culture, and they're not afraid to shove whatever weird crap that they're into down your throat. They're not afraid of it,
Got you.
and which makes them even more cringe.
Hmm. Right.
So yeah,
Exactly.
12 different types of men.
I appreciate it though, man. I'm always learning something. Oh yeah, and by the way, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the live stream. This is officially. I mean, initially it was we're talking about the snap, and we're gonna elaborate more on that. Some of you
Yeah,
guys,
I'm sorry.
no, it's good. It's good. It's good to have a little break because I do it myself, as you notice. You've been listening to me
Yeah.
long enough. I do it myself. I do that on purpose, purposely. Therefore, people are not overwhelmed with information or whatever. But we're talking about the SNAP benefits and the government shutdown. Now, the states that have sued Trump administration to keep the SNAP benefits during the government shutdown. This is going on real. Now, I actually subscribe to Ground News, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sponsored with them, but this is where I get my news. They more in the center, but they will let you know if it's left bias, right bias. But I suggest that you guys, when you guys get a chance or whatever, and one of these days I'm gonna throw my affiliate down there where you can get a discount off as well. But half of the United States have sued the Trump administration regarding regarding plans to halt funding for food aid that serves over 40 million low-income Americans. The lawsuit is led by Democrat Attorney General in 25 states, claiming that halting contingency funds, right, will unlawfully deprive millions of groceries, right? So the SNAP benefits support more than 41 million low to no income Americans, equivalent to about one in eight U.S. residents. So I just want you guys to, and this is what we're talking about, because you already heard some of the things of what people said that they were going to be doing if they don't get those benefits and stuff. Me and Megan were talking about that earlier, a little tongue in cheek there, in regards to
Yeah.
what some of these people say they were going to be doing. I don't know if they're
Yeah,
going
these
to.
some of them are Yankee Novembers if you want, if you get my drift.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, though. So yeah, so we were talking about that, and I suggest for people if there's going to be even a turkey shortage, right? I mean, why we got to wait to get a turkey or whatever? I mean, why the getting is still good? Why not get the turkey in advance? Why not do some stuff in advance? Therefore, we don't have. If it comes down to that, we don't have to wait until the last minute. But I know. There's some people out there that's the last minute, wait till the last minute type of people. What do you think about that, Omega?
Well, you know what? My opinion is the same as the my opinion is the same as the grasshopper versus the ants. If you know that old story, okay.
You can bring it up. Yeah, go ahead.
And for those of you who don't
Mhm.
know that old story, well, you know, the grasshoppers running around playing all summer. The ants are building up a bunch of food and taking it underground. The grasshopper questions the ants and say, "What the heck are you guys doing?" The ants basically saying, "We're preparing for the winter." The grasshopper says, "Well, it don't look like it's winter now. Why are you preparing for winter?" The ants basically said winter is coming and we're making sure we have food before the winter comes. So summer goes and then comes fall and things start to get cold and everything. The grasshopper starts running out of stuff to eat. All of a sudden now he's back talking with the ants. The ants, he basically says, "Hey, you guys can spare some food because I can't find anything." The ants basically said, "We would like to, but giving you some of ours will actually cause us a problem. You should have prepared like we did." So that's just the abridged version of the story. It's a lot more elaborate than that. But
Mhm.
the fact is that, like, say, okay, what did I say earlier? I said, you know, my best advice is to stop with this learned helplessness and learn how to get some skills and learn how to fend for yourself legally. Okay. I mean,
Right.
like with me, I was working with another company. I ended up getting laid off while I was recovering from the injury I had, and basically I ended up buying a turkey already. Okay, I already got that in deep freezer. I bought that like maybe I want to say right before I bought it right before it was frozen. It's gonna stay in the freezer. Probably good for 6 months in the freezer. Um, I bought that about 2 weeks before my injury. And with the new job that I have now, I found out they're going to give me a turkey. I'm like, well, I guess I get two. You know, the thing is, you get yourself a decent enough job, the company will probably give you a turkey. I've been given almost every job I've ever worked for. They've given me a turkey. The only reason why I bought one with the last company, the Ryder, they were a contractor with Ford and all of that stuff. And basically, I don't I have a weird experience with union jobs, and it was a union job. So basically, I'm like, I don't know if they're going to give me a turkey. I might as well buy one while it's still cheap.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But you make a great point about that. Like I said as well, you don't have to wait if you the turkey, and I'm just using the turkey as a metaphor for food in general,
Yeah.
and things like that. Because I mean, you know that, but yeah, it's exactly what it is. Because as I already read some of the stuff from Ground News already. Once again, this is a source, one of them, where you can get an unbiased opinion right down the center. SNAP benefits will not resume until the government shutdown is resolved or a court mandate that uses the use of contingency funds, which I do believe that there will have some contingency funds. I don't see it all the way. I mean, there could be some court mandates that
Well,
oversee.
let me ask you this then,
Sure.
because I'm sitting here. I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing
Right.
practically, but just from a slightly different perspective.
Sure.
Okay,
Got you.
and the
Hmm.
perspective I'm looking at is we looked at what the courts did to the Democrats over the whole COVID vaccine mandate thing, right?
Hmm.
They told whenever the Democrats tried to
Oh,
mandate,
okay. You dipped out.
huh?
Like
Yep.
your yeah, it looked like your sound dropped a little bit, but you're back on
Oh,
now. I can hear you.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Much like how the Democrats tried to mandate the vaccines, and then all of a sudden here comes the court saying, no, you cannot mandate this. So then you know what they do? They turn around and basically created a new mandate for lockdowns and stuff, and just keep the ball rolling uh by redressing the court stayed mandates with new mandates that were reworded so that it could still be kind of sort of enforced without it falling on afoul of the original stay of the order. I mean, Biden did the same thing quite a few times. Now, especially concerning that Ponzi scheme that he was trying to do with paying back the student loans. That he said he'll do it by executive order. The courts rescinded his executive order, so then he come out with another executive order that was reworded slightly
Mhm.
differently, just so that they could try to do it again. Well, that means that the courts technically don't have teeth. So that being the case, here's what I'm looking at. If you've noticed, whenever the court said something to Trump, he's basically saying, "Okay, I'll follow that. Let's take it to the Supreme Court." And then the
Yeah,
Supreme Court ends up siding with Trump.
exactly.
Now, now the thing is, in this case, it will be the lower courts, the district courts, basically the district and circuit courts trying to initiate this. Okay, and Trump is just going to say, okay, go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will probably nail it down. And that's mainly because that was a precedent set during the time that he was trying to get those what's that called again? Those unilateral stays from each
Mhm.
state. That's when he had the, I forgot what the exact term is, but when he had those stays looked at by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court basically said no, the the
You ain't
circuit
talking about
courts can't
Doge,
do that.
right? You ain't
Huh?
talking about Doge. You ain't talking about Doge, are you? When they
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that's related to what I'm talking about. Yes. So when he went to court for that and everything, they basically said, yeah, well, the circuit courts cannot impose these unilateral stays on immigration. Okay,
Right.
so what happens is that he goes to deport. Then the circuit courts basically said, no, we're going to initiate a stay on it, and it goes across the board for all of the states. Well, the resolution at the Supreme Court said, well, if you're going to do that, it can only apply to the state by which the aggrieved parties reside in. It can't be unilateral across the board. So then eventually it got to a point to where it was like, well, yeah, you these yeah, unilateral injunctions, that's what it is. You can't do these unilateral injunctions. Well, the circuit court still tried, but most of them ended up falling off the wall. They basically have a habit of throw as much shit against the wall and see what sticks, and then none of
That's
it
pretty
sticks
much
because of the
right.
Supreme
That's
Court.
right. That's pretty much the ideology behind that. Yeah. Throw
Yeah,
whatever
so
stick up against the wall, see if it sticks or not. But go ahead.
and that's what they're planning on doing with these courts, with trying to force the administration to pay SNAP. I see that happening, and what's going to end up happening is it's going to run to appeal, and then goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to basically say no. And then here's the funny part, right? Here's the funny part.
Hmm.
When the Democrats, I'm going to tell you exactly how long this is probably going to last. It's not going to go past. It's not going to go past the um the second Tuesday of this month,
Okay.
because the second Tuesday of this month, this is 2025. There's a lot of states and local jurisdictions that are having elections right now, and the election day is the second Tuesday of this month. If
Yep.
Democrats see if Democrats see significant losses, they're going to have to capitulate.
Yeah.
Should they?
Capitulate. You're right. But here's the
Yeah.
thing about it, not to interrupt, but
Mhm.
I mean, let's be clear about this thing though. We knew with the whole clean with the CR, the whole clean thing, it was all good. The Democrats did not want to sign on it, so therefore punish the people. Right, we go into the shutdown in the first place. I mean, the shutdown happened under their watch, and they knew they were going to do this because they never thought in a million years that Trump. They thought that Trump was going to yield to the shutdown and the other Democrats. What is it? one point
Well,
five
yeah.
trillion dollars is one of. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, because that's
Yeah, go
generally how politics. That's generally how politics works. Because
absolutely.
they're used to dealing with
Yeah.
squishy politicians. Okay.
Yes.
That's where
Yeah.
that's where Trump is different. Trump is not a squishy politician. Okay.
No.
Now, personally, I'm not. I've expressed this to you before. Okay, I am a fair weather fan of Trump. Okay, I am a fair weather fan, meaning that
Mm-hmm.
I voted for him in 2020 and 2024 because he seemed like the lesser of evils. Okay,
I
and
have
then
heard.
I did not vote for either him or Clinton in 2016. 2016 was the first year I just decided I'm not voting this year. Okay. So I'm from a skeptical standpoint on this, right? So that being the case, being the skeptic, being the fair weather fan of Trump, and knowing that I can respect them at some points, and there are points that nobody talks about that I have my opposition to Trump, such as I'm not a fan of eminent domain. He loves eminent domain. And I told you the story about his little fiasco with eminent domain, right? How it screwed this one
Mhm.
woman's life. It screwed this one woman's life until I think she passed away eventually. But the thing is, I'm not a fan of eminent domain. I'm not a fan of the government telling me we need your property. Here's $5 when my property is worth 100 times that, and you forcibly evict me from my property, even though I continue to pay your bribery money, also known as property taxes. Now, that being the case, with Trump and this whole thing with the squishy politicians, he is a ruthless businessman. He is not going to squish like the politician who basically their bread and butter for existence is public office, don't know a damn thing outside of public office, and probably couldn't survive in the public sector because they were complete failures at everything. And the only thing they are good at is having a silver tongue and getting idiots to be able to vote for them. That's what makes them weak and squishy.
Right, right. Well, we got to keep in mind too, because we know, and I know what I liked about Trump. He's not a politician. He's a
No,
businessman
he's not.
first and foremost, right?
He's not.
So
I,
what
I, I
makes
respect that. I respect that.
right, right, and same to me, same to me as well. But and the thing about it is that by him not being that, we can even argue or not about is he anti-establishment or not. I think that's pretty much the latter now because obviously he's not. If he were, he wouldn't be under this type of scrutiny and attack like this. So this
Well,
is
yeah,
another thing. Go. So in other words, I look at it this way, though. I mean, I know you used the term the lesser of the evil, though. I mean, here we are right now. I mean, they've been trying to make him a lame duck president, which he's not in the second term. In the first term, where he had to kind of learn everybody. I'm gonna be honest with you too. I didn't vote 2016 either. You know how I felt about it because at the time where I was coming up, it was really the left wing, right wing for real, for real. It was the same bird. They complemented each other like WWE. When I started learning about Trump after he won, beat Hillary, right, and got the electoral vote, and I started looking at him because they were going in on Trump, and I said to myself, I've been a big fan of him since The Apprentice. I didn't get into the politics going further than that. I mean, going earlier than that, but we know that
yeah,
he was always a Democrat, as well as have given many money to the Democratic Party, NAACP, Al
yeah,
Sharpton. There's a lot of things that he have done. When he was a Democrat, nobody had to smoke for this guy, right? I mean,
exactly.
and the question would be, why did he leave the Democratic Party? And this is the bigger question, right? Why did
I,
I
I'm,
mean
I'm,
he?
I'm, I'm gonna give you the answer to that. I'm gonna give you
Yep,
the
yep,
answer.
yep.
It's really simple.
Yep, yep. Go right ahead. Go right
It,
ahead.
it's the same reason why you and I are both Uncle Toms, because we left the plantation. We left the
Right.
plantation, and the perception is because we optically position ourselves to be at the benefactors and the friends of black people, then therefore, if you want to leave us, then therefore you must oppose black people. In other words, if you're black and you left us, that means you hate your own kind. Or if you're white and you left us, that means because you're racist. That's
Yeah.
literally the logic.
Yeah. That's literally the logic. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, though. I mean, but we're noticing now, though, it's many blacks that have left the Democratic slave plantation because what really hurt them, and I'm sure you would agree with this. We talked about it on my lives when Antifa and the transgender stuff the children too. I mean, with that one older woman when they had the No
Yeah,
Kings protest that I covered, she was literally
yeah,
holding a sign saying "Protect trans kids." Just
yeah,
I want people to really think about this type of stuff. This is the things, and then they alienated people
well,
from their own party, especially the men, as you mentioned. There's a
yeah.
whole list of things
I
that
would
we.
like to also, I would like to also point out that the Streisand effect that was the narrative behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yes, that's another
I mean,
thing.
that was one heck of a Streisand effect, because here you have these people bellowing to the high heavens that he was a racist. He doesn't like black people and blah 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 blah. And
Right.
then people started showing videos where he had this conversation with a black woman. He had a conversation with a black woman, and was holding a baby on her baby, and
Yep.
he says, "Wow, what a little angel." He says, "You know, your child is a gift from God." How could he must be the worst freaking racist ever by calling a black baby a gift from God?
Right, right, exactly. But they get this narrative. This is the narrative coming from the left when with blacks. This so-called conscious pro-black stuff. They get the race thing and all that. No matter what anybody white that have done positive, always attack the white. As far as white men, we're talking about. And I said this before. I've had a conversation with white men. We had a great conversation, and I said, "You guys are under major scrutiny." I'm talking about heterosexual white men that love America, as well as that is religious, especially a Christian. A Christian conservative white male is more dangerous in this country to the left than anybody else. And then we can talk about that because it's absolutely correct and true. Because
I'm gonna
he's being
technically
attacked.
disagree. I'm gonna
He's
technically
being attacked.
disagree with you.
Well, I mean, before you do, I'm just saying though,
Yeah,
they're under attack right now. The white Christian male, we already know. Uh, Now we got a white liberal, but we also have a white Christian male. The
yeah,
white Christian heterosexual males, right? I'm talking about the ones that are conservative, right? And a
hmm,
lot of them, for the most part of it, live amongst their own. They live out in the country for the most things, stuff like that. Some of them living off the land and things like that. They also have a large amount of guns, right? And
yeah.
this is why we know that it ain't the black male that this is cap, right? Because if you notice with most black men that live in the inner city, right, that are not even the leaders of their own community, right? And not only that, when it come down to firearms, yeah, they got a little something, something. But who holds more? Who has more weight in America are the white Christian conservative males, and they are been under attack because we already know in the Democratic Party, this is what it has been. They've been actually attacking these guys, calling them racist, calling them this and that. And this is what I've
Well, yeah,
been leading you to. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and then not to cut you off here, but
Sure.
remember, they wanted to have a specific purchase code established for whenever you use a credit card or debit card to purchase firearms. They also wanted one for if you purchased a Bible, so that they could establish. Now, a lot of people say this is a conspiracy theory, but it was actually proven true, that they wanted to see if you purchased both a gun and a Bible, then they could brand you to being a Christian nationalist, which is considered to be the most dangerous person. And you know what? And here's where I'm going to here's the point where I said I'm technically going to disagree with you.
Okay.
What's the most dangerous person to the white left? The most dangerous person to the white left is an articulate, conservative, black Christian man. That is like I Am Legend. If you read the book and not watched the movie,
I
okay.
watched the movie, but I didn't read the. I didn't actually
Oh,
read.
let me explain the book to you,
Go
okay.
ahead. Mm-hmm.
The the last phrase in that book is "I am legend," right?
Okay.
Think of it this way, okay? We fear the vampire because the vampire comes at us while we're asleep and tries to feed on us, right?
Right.
Well, the legend is the inversion. When most of society became vampires, he was the stalker who killed the vampires when they were asleep. So now that when he finally got captured, right? He didn't die. He got captured and was held in a cell and was put on display for all of the vampires to see him, right? And he
Mhm.
realized that all of these vampires are pointing at him, showing the children vampire that this is the boogeyman that hunts us when we're sleeping and everything. And he said, "Oh my God, I just realized that I am the legend. I am the creature that stalks them and preys upon them when they're asleep."
Mhm.
You see, so the paradigm here, the paradigm for for this whole scenario is that the legend will be the black conservative Christian man who also owns a lot of guns because he would be able to articulate to other black people why it's important for black people to basically vamos from the Democrat Party. That is the easiest way to bleed your black voter base. That's why that's the scariest concept to the white left liberal.
Okay. Well, here's the thing about it, though, right? And I know with
Hmm.
population, how many? If we were to round up all the black men, right? What
Hmm.
would be the percentage? 6%, 7%? Take away from the black women. How many black men you think
Well,
there are?
considering blacks are black people in totality are 13%, 13 to 13.5% of the population. Much like the rest of the U.S. population, there's a skew that posits that there is always going to be slightly more females than males. I
Sure.
would say that um
Oh, you
6.5% of
dropped again,
all.
Omega. You dropped again.
Oh, oh, my apology.
Okay. Yeah.
I would,
Yeah. I
yeah,
can hear you. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah.
yeah, I would posit that because women in this society, women tend to mildly outnumber men, like by a 1 percentile metric. That being the case, I would say that there are, with the population being say 13.5% of the population are black, I'd say that out of all Americans, 6.75% are black males.
Okay, let's go with that number, and that makes sense. I might have overshot it by 5 points, but
Yeah.
so 6.5, and out of that 6.5, how many conservative gun-toting as well as Christian males out of that 6.5? What you think?
That if I hazard a guess, if you want to go by
Yeah.
the total population, if I hazard a guess going by the total population, I would say it's about just under 1%.
Okay. So with that 1%, now going back to what I mentioned, how many conservative white men of nationalists you think there are in this country? If we were just to, you know,
Well, I mean, if you go by the totality, you got to remember. I like to point out to people. They say, "Well, white people are the majority." No, they're the plurality. Actually, there
mhm.
was a point where they were the absolute majority, but now they're the plurality. Plurality meaning that they are the majority, even though they are outnumbered by everyone else. So, in other words, the plurality of white people in America is about 48% of America is white. Okay, 48%.
Right. That's about right.
Meaning that, yeah, meaning that if you combine all the blacks, all of the Asians, all of the Arabs, all of the Middle Easterns, and all of that stuff, you add up everybody else, there'll be a little over half of the population. You know,
But that makes
but
that makes sense, right?
yeah,
But
but white
mhm,
people are the plurality. Given that, being the plurality, 48%, you would think that, okay, if everything is fair, that means that that for every one male, there's a one female in the white population, which is false because it's actually one and what was that 1.1 per one. 1.1 per one, or basically 11 women for every 10 males. So that being the case, you would say that the entire white male population in America um, is about roughly 23% of the population, 23%. So out of the white Christian males, you know, considering the fact that Christianity, what we're going to talk about before this new thing that's going on with, because we don't even have the numbers on that, the quote unquote Gen Z basically wanting to go back to Christianity. We're going to pretend that never happened because we don't have figures on that. But going by what happened before that, you could honestly say about maybe 25% of white men would fall under the category of ardent Christian males. So 25% of 24, you're talking about 5% of the population.
so this is what, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's why when I made that statement earlier about the white Christian male, when in that case that would still be more dominant to me than the black Christian conservative male.
Yeah,
Regard,
well, yeah, by sheer numbers, yes.
yeah.
However, you also have to remember, the color and candor of the situation. Okay, what is the conversion rate, or should I say, what is the conversion rate based upon political ideology? Okay, as much as we hate to admit it, right? As much as we hate to admit it, um we as black men tend to influence each other a heck of a lot more than white men to other white men to other white men.
Wow.
That being the case, you got to remember, right, this last election saw the highest black turnout for Republican, and 96% of those votes were black men out of the black vote going towards Trump, even though out of the totality of the black vote, it was kind of like out of the whole totality, it was like about maybe I want to what they said it was like 60% in favor of Kamala Harris and 40% going towards Trump of the black vote.
Right. We can
And,
go with those metrics, those numbers. Yeah. But
yeah, so that, but
okay.
the vast majority of that 40% were black men,
Right. But
because
it's right.
black because it goes to the metric of logic, right?
Hmm.
Even though as a whole black people are a more emotional people compared to other races, we are probably the most emotional. Now, that being the case, however, the propensity towards logic stays with the black men as a constant, as with most men of most races. We tend to side more on the logical side. It's easier to persuade somebody with logic than it is with emotion. You have to put a person in a state of fear in order to persuade them with emotional pleas. So what happens is that women, whether you believe in evolution or you believe in creationism or however the case may be, the standing fact is that women trend towards the idea of their motivations being a state of trauma. Or in other words, for example, I think I sent you some videos from Tim Pool. Tim Pool actually had a pretty good analogy on this, right? His
Hmm.
analogy was that you have two couples in prehistoric times, right? The
Hmm.
couple where the woman was a nag, saying, well, the man goes out, he gets fish, right? In one household, he got himself just enough fish. The woman accepted it, and that was it. The other society, the other couple. He brought as much back, and the woman nags him and basically said, "This is not enough fish. We need more fish." So he's forcibly nagged into going out and getting more fish. Well, hypothetically, the one who just had enough fish, well, some of that fish rotted, and they didn't have enough, and they died off. But the ones that kept living on were the ones that nagged, and then on top of which, the daughters learn from their mothers that nagging the man will get more and will increase the odds of survival. Therefore, the state of mind with women is always, hey, enough is never enough. We need
Right.
more.
Right.
Okay. So
Mhm.
that being the case, that's what I meant by women are motivated from a state of trauma, meaning that even though I think I have enough, it's not enough. Okay.
Right.
Whereas with men, it's like we're going to do what we can, and hopefully what we do is more than enough, even though I have this woman nagging me to get more, even though I don't see the reason why we should get more, but oh well, I'm going to do it just to get her off my back. Now, that being the case, multiply that to the entire human population. Now you see why it is easy for these Democrats to use all of these emotional pleas to get the women to vote for them, regardless of what race they are. In fact, basically, Kamala Harris versus the Kamala Harris versus Trump thing was basically a plurality of men and women voting against a majority female constituency. In fact, I'm going to give you one interesting black or gray pill right quick, but I'm going to say like this. The first female president is going to end up being a Republican. And then on top of which, the only way she's going to be elected as the only way she's going to be elected as president is if the person she runs against is a Democrat female.
Right. Yeah.
That
Exactly.
that's literally look at what happened in Japan. Okay,
Oh yeah.
they
Yeah.
got their they got their
Mhm.
first female ultra
Yes.
conservative
Yes.
um ultra conservative female freaking prime minister because most most of the candidates for prime minister were women.
Exactly. Exactly. And liberal, but in this particular one here, that is conservative. I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up as well. Isn't she from what I've have read, she's supposed to have been, let's say, the disciple or uh, um, under the great, the one that got assassinated,
She
Shito.
she was she was she was the Kohai. She was
Yeah,
the Kohai.
yeah,
Yeah, she was the Kohai of
mhm.
Shinzo Abe.
Yeah. That's what I was about to. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. But yeah, but like I said before, far as with in general, with this whole thing, because I know we covered that. There was something else I wanted to ask you about. Oh yeah, I know. Before I forget it, Maker, you've been trying to educate me on how to say grass shit in French. Now that I got you on, I said I'm gonna wait because I know sometimes
It's
I
pronounced
love it.
it's
Yeah,
it,
go ahead.
it's it's pronounced gratio.
Oh shoot. You
Gratio.
gotta say it again, Omega.
Gratio.
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 Yeah, gratio. You got to kind
Grat-
of roll the R a little bit, but gratio.
grat- Gratio.
Gratio.
Gratio. Okay.
It's French. I
Yeah.
forgot what exactly it means, but the
Yes, that's what I was
grat,
wondering with you. Yep.
the
Okay.
first the first T is pronounced as a T, not a S. So it's gratio.
Grat.
Io.
Grat.
The last T
Gratio.
is silent.
Okay.
The rule in French is that if the word ends in a consonant, it is a glottal stop and you do not pronounce the letter itself. You only
Okay.
pronounce the letter, the consonant, if it's followed by a vowel.
Okay. Now the next one I was going to ask you, what is the proper way of saying Detroit for Detroit? Detroit. How do you say that?
It's actually Detroit.
There we go. Now that sounds
Detroit.
French. Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Detroit. I'm good at
You know
doing
what it literally means?
What does
It
that
literally
mean?
mean it literally means down the river or riverside.
Makes a lot of sense because we are down on the river and riverside at the same time. And for those that
Yes.
are listening right now, this is Omega, which is actually my main moderator as well. He brings a lot of insight in different aspects, or I guess you say insight. There we go of things that most of us may overlook. But he also is a student of French and things like that. So we're talking about the words and the meaning and things like that. So as well as how to say it properly. I admit I never took French in grade school, middle school, and high school. A little bit of Spanish, but not French.
Well, I grew up with French because I'm Creole.
Yeah, there we go. That makes a lot of sense, Omega. There we go.
I'm Creole, so and then I learned Japanese because of martial arts. I studied Ishin-ryu karate, and basically part of that was basically in order to get my black belt, I had to either learn some Japanese or some Okinawan. I looked at Okinawan and was like, screw that. So I learned Japanese. Then I ended up teaching myself Hebrew in order to read the Torah. And then I ended up teaching myself classical and liturgical Latin. I can't speak it, but I can read it.
It's
And
amazing,
then,
Omega.
yeah, and the same
Yeah.
thing for Greek. I can read it, I just can't pronounce it properly. I could read
Yeah.
it though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a friend of mine. I think I mentioned this before that he studied Hebrew. He's been keeping up with it for over 2 years. I think he's going in his third year or so. But he's been at it for a while though, and just hearing him or hearing yourself speak Hebrew, which is another language that I do not know. The only one that I have taken private lessons is with Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. That is,
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I always like to point out to people, I'm like, Chinese, which one?
Right. Yeah,
And
that's
then they
true.
look at me. They look
Yes,
at me. I say, "Well, China has
yes,
about 12 different
yes,
distinct languages, three
absolutely.
of which three of which have a completely different syntax than
Yes.
the other freaking nine languages. So which
Yeah,
one?"
exactly though too. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Um, but the one which is the Mandarin, as you already know, this is the days of Mao Zedong. Mao.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mandarin is the language of the Manchus.
yes, right.
Basically,
Mhm.
The Manchurians were the
Right.
ones who basically took over
Mhm.
from the what you call it.
Right.
God,
Mhm.
they took over through the through the communist revolution.
Yeah.
But Manchurian was, I believe, the official language during the Tang Dynasty, if I remember correctly.
Right. Right. I think you may be right though, because the last one would be the Shing Dynasty, which is the very last dynasty, and that was the one that was taken over by the Mongolians and stuff when they had to build the Great Wall of China. Yeah, that was the last dynasty and things. But yeah, but you're absolutely correct on a lot of that though too. So for me, it's a very difficult language because it's all on tones and it
Yeah,
doesn't have vocabulary. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't have a alphabet is what I'm trying to say. So you know how with
yeah,
most languages are built off of the alphabet, you have vowels and consonants, consonants, or was it consonants? Vowels and what
yeah.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah, vowels and consonants. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, right. So with that, it was a whole different thing, man. I said, man, my God, why did I start? But I got friends of mine. I got a very good friend of mine. He's from the north part of China. He's from Harbin, where they pronounce it as Heilongjiang, which is
yeah,
translation Black Dragon River, which is close to Russia, north of Beijing. For people that may not know, so yeah, so he comes from that area there, which I believe is about either 8.5 or 9 million people.
Mhm.
And that is considered a small guy compared to other areas in China, because China is a huge landmass in Asia, as
Well,
we
yeah.
already.
Well,
It's
yeah.
huge. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
it is. It's by area, it's the second largest country in the world by area.
By
You
area.
know, yeah. And the funny thing is that I'm going to tell you an interesting little quirk, right?
Mhm,
If if you are an outsider learning Japanese, you inadvertently learn some Cantonese. Okay.
mhm.
Now, Cantonese or Canton Ren, in Mandarin, you probably know it as Guangzhou.
That's correct.
Guangzhou.
Little
And what
China. Yeah,
happened?
go.
You can pretty much tell I've actually I know a little bit of the tones. Um, J- um, Japanese actually does have its own, in some cases, its own pitch accent. It's not as pronounced as in many of the Chinese languages, but like for example, you have hashi versus hashi and hashi. You have those are three tones for Hashi. Each one of those are three different words. Hashi is basically a bridge, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Hashi is chopsticks, and hashi is wait, I don't even use that word that often. What does it mean? Uh Crap. I don't use that word that often, so I can't really tell you right off the top of my head right now.
Mhm. Oh yeah, we got. Oh, Oh yeah, it's all good. Oh yeah, we got Black Money Corp in the house. What's going on? I've been on the brother's channel and stuff like that. He got a good channel. Yeah,
Oh,
because I
okay.
told him I'm gonna go live and stuff. Yeah, what's going on with you? He's talking about the Fukienese language, which I do not. I don't know that dialect of
Fujian.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fujian.
Fujian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Fujian. If I
Go ahead.
remember correctly, that's Fujian. I think is West China.
hmm I'm gonna hit the link again though too. That's the link there. Cool. What y'all talking about? Yeah, we were talking about the SNAP benefits. This is my good friend Omega that's on here. He's also a moderator of mine. We're talking about whether the SNAP benefits get cut off. I dropped the link down, East China. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with it because I took a year's worth of private Chinese lessons. Yeah, because I've been on Black Money Corp's channel, and he got a good one, man. It's all good, outside of, you know, and say some things, but yeah, I subscribe back to him, Omega. So yeah, as always with the brothers, man, we try to stick together, uphold the show. I think I do like a lot of people's channels, especially with the brothers and sisters, and things like that. I put that link down. You're more welcome to come up and and say some things, if you want to or not. Yeah, it's all good, man. Yeah, I like this brother's channel here. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Omega, but yeah, you can go to it, and he has some very interesting things to say. So once again, I always hold the brothers up and things like that. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing about it. I'm small compared to you guys, Black Money Corp. I'm I'm just a little fish, man, in a big pond, man. If you know what I mean. Man, But yeah, yeah, like I said, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add them on here. Omega, this still you? Okay, hold on for a minute. Omega, yeah, okay, I got you on here twice, Omega.
Oh shoot.
Let me remove this one. Hold on for a minute. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, Black Money Corp, man, welcome to the channel, man. I usually post a little bit more, and I usually go live, but due to my busy schedule, I haven't had a chance to really get on there, though. Yeah, but we were actually talking about China, different parts and stuff like that. Yeah, I know there's a city in the mountains. Oops, hold on for a minute. I got to add Omega back on there. Whoops, there you go. There you go, Omega. Sorry about
Ah,
that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's a city in the mountains. They call it the city in the mountains called Chongqing. And yeah, yeah, you got the better hand, Black Money man. Like I said, I'm just a small fry, man. I only started going live since last year, but I built up. I went from. I mean, with ironic thing, I did other type of stuff since 2010 with this channel, and come to find out, I had 50 subscribers already. I said, "Dang, I can go live, huh?" But that came from stuff that I was doing before, and then I started getting in, with the whole election thing and all this other stuff. So I started getting into that, and I went from 50 and started growing the subscribers up, man. But yeah, man, I know, right? Keep grinding. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do, man. But yeah, Omega, yeah, the brother got some great stuff as well, and things. So there's a lot of us are out there now. But yeah, man. But yeah, I was because I do plan on eventually going to visit in China next year with my friend of mine. I never been overseas like that. I know Omega has. He's ex-military. I'm sure some of you guys are, but I never been. I never been overseas, let alone China. So far away. But like I said, once I could get over the airplane ride, I'm not going now with all these planes dropping out of the air. And we can talk about that too. In fact, with y'all brothers, what y'all think about the planes dropping out of the sky and stuff like that? Let's talk about it. Go right ahead.
You know what? I'm personally, I'm going to say like this. FAA failures for maintenance. It's the same problem that they had back in the 80s when planes were dropping. What happens is that failures within the FAA for standardization of maintenance, and then on top of which, um, a few flaws and errors made by the manufacturers who basically are covering up a lot of the flaws in the newly developed aircraft. Yeah, you remember my MOS when I was in the military was
Mhm.
I started off as an aircraft mechanic and then went to air traffic control, which basically
Mhm.
put me into aerial surveillance and all of that nice stuff.
Okay.
So I have a background with military aircraft and maintenance routines and stuff like that. So I could pretty much guarantee that a lot of these incidents with planes that are happening recently are mostly due to maintenance failures as well as failures with manufacturer.
Okay.
And,
Right.
and one of the
Yeah.
one of the chief problems with maintenance failure is
Mhm.
um, uh, overuse of parts beyond lifespan. That is a
Ooh.
chief problem.
Mm.
In
Mm.
fact, if you want to know some interesting side lore, was that the Challenger explosion happened because of the Challenger explosion of 1986 happened for the
Hmm.
exact same reason.
I
They
remember that.
used an O-ring. Yeah, they used an O-ring that should have been discarded.
Oh man. So is the O-rings I'm used to dealing with from my mechanic days working on cars. What type of rubber is that? Is it dry rotted or something? Or are we talking about a metal or what type of compound we're
It's a
working?
it, it I can't give you the exact specifics on it, but what I can say that it is the O-rings that separate the fuel the O-ring that ruptured is one that separated the fuel from the rocket engine.
Hmm.
And what happens is that the type of O-ring on that shuttle that was used on that was actually a man-made composite. So it wasn't a very specific material. It's a
Hmm.
composite O-ring made of multiple materials layered on top of each other. However, the problem is that you may get one use out of that O-ring and then it's done.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's what ended up happening, man. Because yeah, man, I remember that. I know. Yeah. Money
Yeah, I
talks.
think I
Yeah.
think I
Black
was in
money.
1980,
Yeah.
1986. I think I was 7. It was before my birthday.
Okay, yeah. Black Money Corp said he was in school. I was in school as well too. When that disaster happened, because wasn't there a brother that was aboard the Challenger as well? I know it was a woman, and I believe she was it was
School
a
teacher.
woman school teacher. That's correct. And then there was a
Yeah.
brother too. Wasn't he some type of scientist or some type of astro engineer or something like that, I believe.
I think he was a physicist. Let me take a look.
Because he was okay. If he was a physicist, yeah. So, was he the first brother in space? I think.
Oh
Was
no,
he?
no, no. The
Who's?
first black man in space was like 1981 or 1982, somewhere around
Okay,
there.
there we go. Oh yeah, that would be the Challenger, one of the Challenger space shuttles. Then, okay, got you. The first
Yeah.
brother in space, boy. hmm Oh yeah, Omega is sharp though. Black Money Corp. Omega is that deal, brother. Yeah, he keeps me honest, which I appreciate though, man. Someone always say you want to hang out with people that's much smarter than you. I got a few brothers that very intelligent, and I say, you know what, I'm gonna have them on again. I had them on before, and things. So yeah, man. Yeah, Omega. Yeah. He knows more language. I just know so Mandarin, but I'm gonna go back and because I have a foundation in it now. I'm gonna go back and learn it, and I'm gonna go back to Japanese as well because I was learning Japanese just on the, I guess you could say, just on the humble when I was in my homeroom class. And remember the days when we all had Detroit? Me and Omega is in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you remember when we had a thing called the Japanese. It was called a foreign exchange program, which was very popular in the 80s. It could have been the 70s, but I know in the 80s and the 90s it was very, very popular. So his name was Toshi Matsumoto, and he was in my grade, in my class, and we hit it off because I was always the type of guy that's always been curious as to where people are from. And I was also a big fan of the Asian culture other than our own, you know what I'm saying, and others. But yeah, man. Oh, you over in VA? Okay. All right. That's what's up though, man.
Oh yeah. Not to cut you off, just to clarify here. Yeah, we were talking about Ronald Irwin McNair,
Okay.
born
There you go.
October 21st, 1950, died on January 28th, 1986. Was an
Yeah.
American NASA astronaut and physicist.
Nice. Okay. Yeah,
So
because I
yeah,
know, I know it's a brother on there. I forgot. Yeah, it's been, what we talking, 30 years?
yeah. He was 35 years old and he was a
Yeah.
PhD in astrophysics.
Oh yeah, that brother was about his game, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's always good to have these conversations and stuff and come together and things, man. Because and I do this to try to break up the monotony. I get on, people's
And
channel.
and
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
to clarify,
Mhm.
Guillaume Bluford was the
Yeah.
first black well he was Cubano black, but he was the first black astronaut. Did a Soviet mission in 1980, and then the American answer to him
hmm
was what was another black Cuban by the name of Arnaldo Tamayo, and he was
hmm
he was the American's answer to Guillaume Bluford.
Okay. I'm always learning something, man. I I I mean, even as a kid, I always found the astronaut thing was one of my, as well as astronomy. Those are like the big in sci-fi. Those are like the biggest loves of mine. I go back with the Carl Sagan days. You remember? I don't know if you may.
Carl Sagan, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So yeah,
I, s-
that's
I saw the world and it was small. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you cornered the phrase on that one, but yeah, exactly. Which I am looking into astrophotography is what I'm gonna start doing because I haven't actually done that one yet. But right now, I think we still have some clear skies left. And when I get rides way out there past Ann Arbor, as you know, I'm talking about way out there in Dexter, man, you can see the stars so good. And I wanted to capture that and maybe pull up some of the nebula and stuff and things, man. And that's what I'm looking to do because I never done it before. But I do have some information in it. But yeah, that'd be real cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
other than yeah,
when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut until I saw the Challenger explosion. And I said, no.
yeah, I know, right? Exactly, right? Yeah, I know. It's like what the I know, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was in the I was 7 years old. It was
I know you
January. I was
was.
7 years
Uh-huh.
old,
I know
and I
you
was in the
was.
second grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, guys. You know what? I just got myself a ride, and it looks like I'm gonna have to cut the live though, guys. But yeah, I finally got myself a ride now and things. But yeah, you guys, you have anything you want to say on the closing though, Omega?
Well, you know what? In closing, I'm probably gonna end up starting my own channel again,
I
but
know, man.
I'm
I
not
know.
gonna do it on this account. I'm gonna go
Oh,
ahead and do what I told you about before.
yes. Yep.
I was gonna create the Base Black Champion, or
Right.
also known as the BBC.
Okay.
That's gonna probably be my new channel, but I'm gonna probably do that on Rumble.
Okay. Yeah, that would be smart. I got a Rumble account. I haven't really been building it up as I should. I might only have 3 subscribers right now. I'm gonna try to get more people. I think I need a total of 4. I need one more, I think, before I can
Mhm.
start doing lives on Rumble. So if you guys can do me a solid, if you have a Rumble account, please go visit some random guy or a random guy. It's on my links in my description on my channel. Go and click that, and if you can help me out, do me a solid, and put me on there. I mean, follow me is what I'm trying to say on Rumble. That way, I can go ahead and start doing lives there. But I'm gonna give the floor to you, Omega, on the closing. Go right ahead.
Well, to go back to the original subject about the SNAP program, like I said before, I would not advise anyone to call themselves trying to rob stores or people because, quite frankly, that could be detrimental to your health, especially if police get involved, or especially if you just so happen to try to rob some type of, because they said they wanted to rob white people, rob a white conservative or a white libertarian, because you're going to probably find yourself looking like bloody Swiss cheese. Now, that being the case, the other thing I would like to advise is this, that as Black people, we need to elevate our game because, quite frankly, we have been the fishermen who forgot how to fish. Once upon a time, we used to fish, and then all of a sudden, the government told us they'll give us a fish if we sacrifice our fishing pole. So we decided to do that, and then all of a sudden, guess what? We decided that just getting a fish from the government was not enough, so we started taking each other's fish, getting into the Pookie and Ray Ray complex. Now it's to the point to where when you try to get yourself a fishing pole, guess what? Pookie and Ray Ray wants to take your fishing pole and destroy it because, quite
Right.
frankly, the thing is, as long as you are incapable of doing what you can and what you need to do, then therefore you will side with them. That being the case, what you need to do is you need to get yourself in a situation where you can be self-sustaining, you know, not relying on the government, because quite frankly, relying on government benefits is a form of slavery. The thing
Yes.
is that you are basically beholden to the people who give you money. You are controlled because they control your purse strings. You don't realize it. Basically, now you have all of these black liberals that are chimping out because of the fact is that they are not having money given to them because of this situation. You wouldn't be in this situation if you were providing for yourself.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Exactly, man. You're absolutely right. And that's the thing about it. Um, I always say this, and I'm gonna say it again. We are all brothers if we ain't anything else. We shouldn't be separated by division of politics, religion. I mean, there's some things that I know. I love quoting Malcolm too, but you know what I'm saying. Our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. I believe that's what Malcolm said, and I mean, quote. and things like that. So if we can understand that philosophy and grasp that concept of what he was coming from and talking about, because it has been a great effort to separate us as black men and to get us to fight amongst each other. And they created this subclass called YNs, and we already know history, and we already know see what's going on from the remnants of how the YNs were created, and trying to get them on board because we know a lot of them did not have their fathers in the home, and we know politically motivated. We're talking about welfare, the Great Society, Lyndon B. Johnson, and so forth, had a lot to do with the coming of the age of the YNs. So yeah, you got anything you guys want to touch on that before I get to where I'm going?
Well, the one thing I could honestly say here is that one thing I can honestly say here is that the this goes back to what I was saying about what Malcolm X said, Malik Shabazz, what he said basically, and that is yeah, unified we would be unstoppable. That's the very reason why Margaret Sanger and her Negro Project was the primary their primary target were the black evangelists,
Right,
your Sharptons, which is funny because he doesn't even have a church and he's some kind of reverend. Then you have I hate to say it, but we're just gonna have to call a spade a spade. MLK fell into this category, as well as even Jesse Jackson. They all fall into this category because of the fact is that the black Christian male, the black Christian conservative male, is an anathema to the designs of the white liberal, because of the simple fact is that they would be a danger. That's the reason why you had to get the black clergy on board with the self-destructive policies. You had
right,
to,
right.
that was like literally the second chapter of the speech concerning the Negro Project. I advised any black person, okay, I would advise any black person to sit back and actually read the entire speech that Margaret Sanger gave to the Ku Klux Klan in 1927, I believe it was,
Could you
pertaining
send
to
me that?
Negro.
Not to interrupt you, not to interrupt you there, Omega. Could you send me that as well? Because I know who Margaret Singer was. She was behind Planned Parenthood. I know exactly
That
who
that is that is correct. And
right.
then up until I think it was the second term of Obama, they offered the Margaret Sanger Award, and they gave Obama the Margaret Sanger Award. And then black people who are in the know, much like myself, started looking up Margaret Sanger and pointing out, hey, this woman was trying to eugenicize us.
Right. Right. Yeah, eugenics, like just like Bill Gates' father was as well. He was very best friends with Margaret Singer as well too. So yeah, the Nazis where they got a lot of their indoctrinations from Margaret Singer. Yeah, exactly. Black Money Corp. I know he's been talking in the comments as well. Black Money Corp. I'm not able to read your comments due to me driving, but I am gonna. You see what he's saying, Omega?
The
Black Money.
last thing the last thing I see him saying here is saying hit my Gmail with y'all email.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to throw my Gmail down in there or whatever like that. Mine is actually on my page. All my stuff is on my channel. There's links down there below on all my stuff, my Rumble as well, my Instagram. I got all my links on there. I need to set my account up on all my links. I need to create that, set that up so I can just, give everything. But it's on my channel right now. I may lose the signal a little bit, but I'm getting close to my destination. But
Yep,
if you guys can hear me, if I didn't lose signal, so if you
I can
guys
hear
can
you.
hear me now, yeah.
Now you're breaking up badly.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting close to my. I'm under this tunnel. Yeah, I'm under the tunnel right now. I'm out of the tunnel now. But yeah. So I'm gonna have to go ahead. You showing up. I'm gonna have you back on again, Omega. I'm gonna hit up Black Money Corp again. Give him the information. If you want to go to my link, all my links once again is under my channel and stuff like that. I mean, trying to get the brothers together and stuff like that. Share your insight, your wisdom as well. I don't know everything, and that's okay, you know. But what I don't know,
Well, you know what?
one of you brothers will be able to back up and back me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just how it
I
is.
don't claim I don't claim to know everything myself. I just know what I know, and I do a lot of reading. I don't even
Oh yeah,
watch television. I just
oh yeah,
read.
oh yeah. That's why I say even Black Money. That's why I say even what Black Money Corp say that you very intelligent brother, man. And I said I first talked to you. I said, oh my gosh. And I said, yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah, I have run across Prodigy brothers too. I've run across, yeah, so that's a beautiful thing. It busts up the old stereotype that all black men ain't ish and so forth. But other than that, we're gonna have to bring that up some other time on another topic,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, but
I mean,
I
if you're
appreciate
free later on, I'm available up to about 9 p.m. So
you. I know you truck driving like a few of my buddies as well too, and I appreciate everybody else in the chat as well too that have visited. Some random guy speaks and stuff, man. Yep, and things. Black Money Corp. I appreciate you visiting the channel as well and things like that. Yeah, I always run across the brothers' channels, man, and say some stuff or whatever. But all that, man, it's all good, man. It's all good. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the live now and stuff. But we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do
alrighty
it.
then.
All right. And that email, I'm gonna hit and when you go live, Black Money Corp, I'm gonna drop my email in your thing. How do you want to do it? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it privately or whatever like that. Yeah, you know what? Let me see here. What is my email? I got a few of them here. Well, let's go in and this is my public line. All right. I think this is it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to hit him up privately on this. Can I? Is it a way I can get you up private on here? All right. But I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I want to go ahead and send it to him private. I don't want to put it in the public room and get spammed.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So Black Money Corp. I'm gonna hit you up, man. And drop my email down, man, and stuff like that, so we can chop it up. But once again, guys, man, I appreciate you all, man, for being on the chat and things like
Yeah.
that, man. We wrap this up, and yeah, we're gonna do it again.
Yep. I just sent my regular email to you just now. So on
Okay,
StreamYard. So
okay. That would be up under the private. I see it right here. Yep.
yep.
Okay, that's the private here, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy that, and then
But
I'm
you could
gonna add.
text me, so it doesn't even matter.
I was about to say, man. Yep, you're right. All right, but I appreciate you, brothers, man. I appreciate you guys all here supporting this brother and stuff. And when I look forward to it,
Yeah, I subscribed.
be there
I
and be square.
subscribed to his.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah. And anybody else, man, check out Black Money Corp, man. Subscribe to his channel as well. Check him out and things like that. You know, I just appreciate it. You know, I'm the small guy in this sea of fish, you know, and I don't mind admitting it. It is what it is. On a good day, you know,
Well, you know what? There's a
I
Japanese proverb that you might like. The Japanese proverb is, "It is better to be the head of a sardine than to be the tail of a tuna."
there you go. I like that.
So it's better to be the head of a small thing than to be the butt end of something bigger than you.
Right, exactly. Thank you. Yep, yep. Still waiting on her to come in. I thought she would be out here already, but yeah, just waiting on her. I got a trip to Livonia, so but yeah, man. Then Omega, we got to talk about, because they busted another Indian dude. All of them let the last name sing, and you already know where I'm going with this. You already know, man. We have to do our next live, because I've been meaning. I would have done it here, but I said, you brought up the snap one. But the next one we're gonna have to do is one on these illegal as heck truck drivers. Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I
You were
dropped off. Yeah. I already know about the truck drivers. I've
oh,
been ranting about this all freaking last week.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, because just last week there was another one that killed 3 people in California.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that was that I think was Tuesday or Wednesday of last week.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I sat there. I said, "Yeah, well, you know what?" And then I'm seeing videos. I'm seeing videos of Pajeets hitting low bridges and stuff like that. I'm like, if these people could actually sit back and read this stuff. I'm gonna tell you my personal experience with this. Because I told you I was hauling steel and stuff like that, right? So I run heavy. Okay, I run. Your average 18-wheeler is a 80,000 pound vehicle. What I run, I run a total of 11 axles. So I run heavy. My gross vehicle weight is 160,000 pounds, and it's hard for me to pick up speed with that much weight. Okay. So I'm going down Michigan Highway what is it, 57, I believe it is, and going across to across Michigan. And there was a Canadian truck that basically was going about there was a Canadian truck going 36 miles per hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone.
Right.
Yeah. What is 36 miles per hour in kilometers per hour? Oh, 55 kilometers per hour. So the guy couldn't tell the difference between kilometer and miles.
Exactly.
Okay, you have a good one.
Omega, yeah, you have a good one. Thank you guys for entering the live, and I'll see y'all on the next live stream. Peace out.
All right.
Don't forget to comment and subscribe. All right. Thank you.
Bye.